Good morning, everybody. If you can see us, happy Tuesday. We're just going to let everything get uploaded before we get going this morning. It's bright and early here in Wisconsin. 6 a.m. Who's awake? Who's awake? If you're awake, give us a hi. Let us know. All right, once again, good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 205 of the On Air Advocate. Where at the On Air Advocate, we look to provide education, support, and empowerment for all of those with different abilities, mental and medical illnesses, and their caregivers. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Tammy Flynn, and I am the host and producer of the On Air Advocate, and I am super excited if you are here joining us this morning or whether you are catching this on the replay. Now, as always, if you think any of the content we could be talking about today could be relevant for anyone in your network or your circle, please hit the share button and share the love with others. Well, as we wrap up the month of June, we do not want to leave this month without driving awareness and support for post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And I have back with me a friend and a fellow a fellow special needs mom that is here today with us, Shoele. She is an author, a speaker, and the founder of Grayson Hope Consulting. Welcome back, Shoele.
Hello, thanks for having me, Tammy. It's a pleasure to be back.
Yes, and so I know with all that has transitioned, and we have spoke about this before, we're not only talking this month about post-traumatic stress disorder just for the month of June awareness, but we have gone through so much in 2020 already. It feels like it's been 2 years in 4 months. And I really wanted to speak with you today, on that and how, that's kind of playing out for all of us mental health wise through these COVID times. But maybe I regress backwards a little bit. Before we kick that off, for people who haven't met you, can you give us a little snippet about yourself?
Sure. So I'm Shoele, and like Tammy said, I'm a writer, I'm a speaker. I'm also the founder of Grayson Hope Consulting. So what we do at Grayson Hope Consulting, we provide consulting, coaching, counseling, training to help people achieve emotional and mental wellness, as well as reach their full potential and live fulfilling lives. So my background, I do a lot of things that aligns with the three things I just mentioned. But regards to what we'll be talking about today, I am a certified family trauma professional. I'm also a certified grief counseling specialist. And I'm also actually a person in recovery from PTSD. So the things that we'll talk about here today, it's not just because this is what I do professionally, but I've been there and I'm helping others also recover as well.
Yes, and so you all see why I have her here this morning with us. She's a fountain of knowledge. And so can you kind of, from your perspective of what is going on, things you have also experienced, but what you're seeing in this mental health area and with COVID and the post-traumatic stress disorder, and I feel like this might have longer ramifications than what we're also seeing right now. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So we all been, we all been through this pandemic, together, separately but together in so many ways. And it's not just here in the U.S. It's globally. That's why it's called a pandemic. But it's not just a medical or a public health crisis, if you want. Um, there's more, even those of us who maybe did not contract the virus or don't have anyone close to us who might have been affected by the virus. We all been affected by this time, but all the stay-at-home regulations, things closing up, or kids having to stay at home. It seems like we're at home. We're supposed to be, rested. It's been a very stressful time for all of us. And all that stress, hijacks our natural stress response system in our bodies, the fight, flight, and freeze
Yes.
response. And every day you're waking up and you're like, okay, now what? What's open, what's closed? And you even have our kids, my own kids, who like they seem like they were doing okay in the beginning, and then the one morning, my 6-year-old got out of bed. The first thing out of his mouth was, "Can will we survive this?" He's 6. And so as a mom, I'm like, oh my goodness, I've been doing all the trauma informed stuff I knew to do at home and helping, we talk about things openly in my home because I want my kids to be able to, share all the feelings and process that and not keep it in. So like we were doing all of that. We were coloring about it. We were drawing about it. We were talking about it. But here, it's so in the back of his mind was this constant fear. Would this ever go away? And then my 14-year-old who is getting ready to start high school next year and not knowing even, okay, what would that look like? Do I have to still do cyber? She was sort to go to a vocational school and she's at technical school. She's like, I'm not sure if I that's going to happen. Is it better to stay with cyber so I don't, at least I know what to expect? And you find kids not even being able to process like the beyond today. When we talk about what we're going to do this summer, what's going to be open, what can we do, right? And you hear that in our kids, even adults. A lot of people have lost jobs. A lot of people have lost loved ones. Sorry, and there's many people. Just the isolation alone is not healthy for us. We were created and made to be social beings. Even for those of us who are introvert, we might not want to be around all people all the time, but naturally we need those human connections. And
Right.
yes, we have technology, we're texting, we're doing Zoom, like right now, we're writing to each other, we're being on the phone, but it's not the same. It's not the
Right.
same. And there's no, all of us in kind of the trauma informed field are worried that this pandemic actually is only the if you want, like the precursor to a global mental health crisis.
Yes.
Before this, we all heard about, suicide rate being high, and we heard about, addiction and levels being high. But just even the counties that close to me, we had more I go suicide related deaths. We had more people who overdose on substances that are not healthy, and some of them led to dying. So the stress of this time, it's stress compound type of stress, and that's what trauma is. Life is stressful as it is, period, right? We all go through stuff, but it becomes traumatic when your internal and external responses become hijacked, that you don't have enough resources. And it's not just money, it's the mental, it's the physical, it's the relational resources to combat that stressor that's coming at you. And
Right.
I don't know about you, but that's what COVID feels like. It's out of our control. And I often say we all get mad at what the CDC is putting out there as precautions. We all get mad at our governors, but I do not want to be in their shoes. It's hard enough to make decisions for my own family and the
Right.
stress of that. Who do we let come care for my kids or not?
Right.
If I have to do work, who's there? And it's like, oh, it's hard enough for me to maintain my 4-person family, my 4 people family. Imagine having to make decisions for entire state, entire county, entire country. I don't want to be in their shoes.
Right.
So all of us are put through that a lot of stress. And again, it's the stress of not being able to work, the stress of not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, the stress of what's going to happen to the school for the kids, how a financial status is going to be, how we're going to do financially, the stress of all businesses closing, the stress of not being to seeing friends. And it's stress upon stress upon stress, and it's not healthy for all of us, for any of us.
Yeah.
These are times, like, as much people say, well, I'm home, I'm cleaning. I'll say, yes, clean if you must clean, but what are you doing for your mental health right now? Because it's
Right.
really crucial.
Because I feel like everything is, the word that I like to use is heavy.
Yes.
Like, no matter what position you're in, it's really, really heavy. And I think both of us coming from the area of caregivers within our own home, I think that, and I don't know if you agree or, let me know, but I feel like, we as becoming caregivers, you kind of went through that mourning process, that grieving process where you
Mhm,
became alienated and you became isolated. And
mhm.
so I feel like we just kind of stepped it up a notch now, like we've already been there. But I feel like some of this frustration also in society, just out there in anger, is they're going through that grief and that mourning of, we used to go to the beach and we used to do this and we used to go on family vacations and now we can't do these things. I feel like it's a lot of that same loss. Like they're feeling a
Yes.
loss, not really knowing why they're angry, but having this frustration and anger, I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
Does that
Yes.
seem
Oh, so true. And I even had friends who struggle with, depression, anxiety, and they even when all this started, they were saying not the whole world is catching up to our life, because people who struggle with those things were dealing with this every single day, and now, and for sometimes no reason at all, because again that's the nature of the condition, and now the whole world is dealing with it because of COVID. It's like, oh, this is what it feels like to feel so anxious all the time. This is what it feels like to feel depressed because you can't, you can't live the life that you want to live. And yes, we all of us are grieving, and sometimes people think that you only grieve when someone physically dies. No, we are grieving lost opportunities. Think about these kids who didn't get to graduate the way that they felt like they went through school for 12 freaking years waiting for this day to be like, this is what I'm waiting for, I'm going to graduate and move out. No, now we have college kids coming back home. We have, even older adults and younger adults moving back to the family because, hey, COVID happened, right? So we're all grieving these losses and not realizing that we're grieving. We're just, sometimes people, I even think people tell me, I just feel out of whack. I don't even know how to explain it. I say
Right.
that out of whackness, whatever, that you're feeling, it's hiding a lot of emotions. So what I
Mhm.
do with people often is like, okay, let's peel the onion right now. What's the first feeling that's coming to mind? Like, I feel angry. Okay, yeah, you're allowed to be angry. Then let's talk about it. I'm angry because I didn't get to go to the beach. It does not even feel like summer for my kids. We actually had some of the resorts we were supposed to go to call us and say, oh, we're opening on such and such day. We schedule stuff. 2 weeks later, they call and cancel. You could have seen the face in my, oh my goodness. It broke my heart to see how my kids were grieving that. And
Mhm.
my 8-year-old said, Mom, that's the only thing I was looking forward to, because he's been like, his life's been so like just, in shambles for the past 4 months. Like that was the one thing that felt like normalcy, that will at least make him feel like he lived his summer, because that's one thing we look for in the summer. So all the that grief that we're feeling, and maybe not able to call it grief, we need to process that.
Right.
Whether it's loss of opportunity, loss of relationship, loss of work, loss of, all those dreams that did not fulfill because COVID happened. We need the place
Right.
to process those.
Yes, and I think that it freezes us. Like, even if you're a very productive person, you get stuff done, the heaviness of it. And
Mhm.
maybe we say the heaviness is kind of like a sadness, or we could call it a depression. But it literally kind of like freezes you, like you're trying to be productive, but you're really not that productive. Like it's really not going at that pace. And I have noticed for my son who already suffers with anxiety and whatnot, now the anxiety of nobody's wearing a mask, people aren't doing this, people aren't doing that. And so
Mhm.
that anxiety has gone from here to off the chart. And I feel like that's where we talk about also like the post traumatic stress disorder, that after this, well, are we going in? How many people are going to be in the store? Are people going to be wearing masks? Are they going to be touching things? And so it's like, how are we going to, outside of COVID times, when this ends, where is the help? You know what I'm saying? Like, how are we going to, because we're all experiencing it. So our mental health providers are also going through the pandemic,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know? So what are some things that you feel, whether it's children, teens or adults, can actively do on a daily basis or a weekly basis to really kind of help themselves process a little bit, and bring down that anxiety or that anxiousness, or maybe get out of their own head a little bit?
Hmm. So one of the things that I do for myself with my kids is kind of checking in. Like if and finding a time that works for you. I do it personally, like in the morning, and I do it with my kids briefly in the morning, and then we do a bigger session if you want in the evening. And you don't have to call a session if you live alone, or people in your home are not able to participate. You can write it down, do it in a journal. But just like, how am I feeling right now? It sounds like very simple question, but it helps you. It gives you permission to name those feelings, permission to let it out. Well, you're going to talk about it with if you already have a mental health provider, or you're talking about it with your family member, your friends, or you're journaling about it. But give yourself permission to acknowledge what you're feeling, and
Mhm.
then also, well, how am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? And then what can I do about it?
Right.
So there's so many things that we cannot control right now, and some that at my kids the same way. It's like, well, that person in the store with no mask, how did they let them in? I'm getting out, and you see them bolting for the door. So I've seen that happen in my own life. And at that moment, it's like, okay, what are you doing to protect yourself? But
Right.
remind them, it's so easy to only look at what's going, sideways, the things that, and the brains are wired that way, to see the things are now working right, not going the way we expected. But then you have, if you start retraining your brain to think, to look at the positive, not
Mhm.
only that boosts your own, self of confidence, that, okay, it's not perfect, but I got this, I can handle this, we're doing this together. But it also then, rewires the pathways, creates new pathway in your brain, that you feel less anxious and less worried, less depressed even. It's like, what are we already doing? We're washing our hands, we're putting a mask on, we are not, having parties in the house with everybody around. Like, so you remind yourself and your loved one of what they're already doing to kind of, stay well. And that's what we can focus on. And at the end of the day, we can control the person at the store. You see someone not wearing a mask, and just walk the over direction. You don't know them. And, and even as some places are reopening, I know, like my own church, they had a outdoor service last Sunday. My family didn't go. So do what you're comfortable with. Just because
Right.
everyone is doing it, doesn't mean that you have to do it. If you're not comfortable going to the open event, the outdoor event, the indoor event, stay home. Ask for
Right.
other ways to connect with your community. We're still doing, live streaming or services, because I feel comfortable doing that. And for those of us, who are caregivers of, or who ourselves have, pre-existing condition, health conditions that makes puts us at risk, take care of yourself. And not everyone's going to understand, but the more you take care of yourself and you remind yourself that you're doing that for you, and that you're protecting yourself, it helps you again boost that, not just awareness, but that resilience. I'm doing what I can do to take care of it as much as I can, and that's all I have control over.
So you would say, if we were going to list this out, and if anybody is watching, I don't know by me because it's 6 in the morning. So I don't know who's awake right now, but when they watch it on the replay, we'll type it underneath.
Yeah.
You would say that kind of at the end of the day, kind of make a rounds with your family, your kids, yourself, and just look at kind of writing down your feelings or talking about them or putting it kind of out there on the plate,
Yes.
right? Then second, after you figure out what those things are, would you say that it's kind of talking through, so what are the things around that's causing you anxiety that you can control?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so what you can control. And then the last thing, if I'm hearing you correctly, then would be to kind of list off what are the things that you're doing to make yourself feel safe within that, like not going to the thing, wearing a
Mhm.
mask. These are the things we're doing to make good choices. You know what I'm saying? That make us
Yeah.
feel better and safe.
Yeah, yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it. Those are the three
Okay.
things. Because and when you think about general PTSD, after COVID, and just PTSD because you're dealing with a lot of crap happening in life. When you think about all of that, um, all of us, what we need at the end of the day is that sense of safety.
Yes.
So in doing those three things, it gets you to that place of safety. It's like, I feel safe, not just physically safe, emotionally safe. Because
Yeah.
a lot of you can be physically safe, you can be in the house that has all those security cameras and all of that. But if you're not emotionally safe, all the physical safety means nothing,
Yes.
right? So that it's getting all of us to that place of safety. And even for people, when you're getting care, mental health care, because you've been through a traumatic incident, or incidents in plural, creating that space, that safe space is what people need the most, in before, so they can start to heal. Right?
Yeah.
They need to feel safe first, and then feel heard, and then you see people start peeling that onion.
Yes. And are there some good resources? I know that you post some different strategies and resources on your page, as well. Do you offer counseling, or emotional support services online to anyone in the United States?
Yes, yes. So I do offer services to anyone. And honestly, even before COVID, I'll say 85% of my work has been virtual. So for me, that was not new. But yeah, and I chose to do things, because I like being, outsider, if you want to do things a little at the outline there. I chose not to be licensed in my state, and so that I can be able to provide the services globally, and not have the restrictions of, this insurance, that insurance. So I don't take insurance. I tell them I'm open with people. So all my services are self-pay, and I do have a sliding scale, but I, so that I can serve as many people, know how to know the regulations if you want. Um,
Right.
and if I tell people, just because I'm not licensed with a state doesn't mean I don't have credentials. If I don't like talking about them, but if you need them, I can provide my resume. A lot of the stuff also on my website as well. So I am a trained mental health provider. I'm certified in so many things, so many areas of mental health, and I'm just not, participating with insurance.
Okay. And then are there some other organizations when you talk about post-traumatic stress disorder that you highly recommend that either have good webinars, you know what I'm saying, resources, maybe a support line, things like that?
Yeah, so the VA has a PTSD website, and they actually hold our national PTSD. I'm trying to pull it up. I think, oops, no, it won't pull. Come here. But I can send the link to you when we're done. But the VA has a great national PTSD center, and that even on there, not only they have webinars, but there's actually an app that I even use with my own clients. It's called PTSD Coach. And then through that, it takes you through the step. There's different modality for recovering from PTSD. They use the STAIR approach, and they know I'm training that. And so with my clients, I actually have them download the app so that they can continue to work on that throughout the sessions. It helps you kind of understand what trauma is. It helps you to learn how to de-stress when you got triggers, things that remind you of the trauma, and then it also helps you to start creating a new narrative about what happened.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
And those are all free. The
Okay.
PTSD coach is free.
Okay. So when we get off the show, can you just drop below in the Facebook comments that
Yes.
link, to get there, and then your link as well if somebody wanted to sign up to talk to you, or the best way to get in contact with you that way?
Yeah, for me, I'll put, if you go to my website, graysonhopeconsulting.com, on there, you can actually message me directly, and it rings right on my phone. Like when you go on the website, there's a pop-up that comes in, or chat with us, and how can we help? So you can use that. That's probably the quickest way to get a hold of me. But yeah, and that, so I'll also put the PTSD coach on there. The website is actually ptsd.va.gov.
Okay.
Um, and then on there, you can download the PTSD Coach app.
That is really neat. I didn't know that they had an app. I know that I saw that they have pretty many services, but that's
And it's
really
totally
neat.
free, yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
free and convenient.
and they have webinars on there too. And then if you want to do, I have PTSD. There actually is PTSDscreening.org, I believe. I'll verify that you can also take an assessment for free and just see if you have it or not.
Okay.
But I think and I tell people, yes, to have PTSD, to get a clinical diagnosis, there's three criteria you have to meet, but it's even for those of us, for me, I have a PTSD diagnosis. So, but for people who don't have a PTSD diagnosis, going through the COVID-19 stuff, going through all
Mhm.
that we're going through right now, with the social injustice and all the stuff going on the
Yes.
news, those are all traumatic events. So
Yes.
you don't need a diagnosis in order to take care of yourself. I'll just put it out there. You
Right.
do not need a diagnosis in order to take care of yourself. Yourself, how these things already been impacting you. So don't let it become, debilitating, or maybe it is already debilitating. Don't let things get worse. Don't wait until you're crashing before you get help. We often say
Right.
prevention is the best, it's the best medicine, right? But
Mhm.
right now, it's like we're already post prevention because we're already in it, you know. But
Right.
you can still prevent a crisis. You can prevent, a hospitalization stay. You can prevent, things from really to getting at the worst it could be. We don't want you to get there.
Right, right. And like what I said with it being so heavy, I find that you need to really be aware when you need to disconnect. Like I take
Yes.
my television out of my bedroom. I'm just like, you know what? I mean, you can't always have things firing at you. Negativity, and we're ingesting all of that, right? And like
Yeah.
you said, if you're not really mindful
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
care
that's so
of yourself,
true. Even
you
before this, I'm not a news person. because I know my own stress level. Like people say, well, you do this for a living. Yes, I can relate to one person one by one or a small group of people and help them recover from that. But those are people I can physically see or see virtually, but I feel that connection with them and I know the story and I know we're helping them walk through that. I cannot mentally and emotionally be taking all that comes on the news and be well. I can't because I feel too deeply. I know myself. So even before COVID, I don't watch the news. I'm like,
Mhm.
I can get the news if something is very that needs to be known. I'll find it about it. It's going to be on Facebook. Then I can go search and find. I go search the news when I want to learn about something.
Right,
I don't go. I don't just don't let the news play all around my house. I don't.
right.
And because of protecting my own mental health. And for
Yes.
those of us who are already dealing with things before, it's like you have to know your triggers, things that actually make you feel unsafe, and you want to, as much as possible, prevent those things. And that's again creating that sanctuary for yourself, creating that sense of safety, because we need that.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Well, I thank you so much for joining us bright and early this morning. Now, before we log off, I wanted you to just let the folks know if there's anything new going on, what's up and coming, because I know you always have things on the plates and things that are launching off the plate. I know that didn't you just launch a new mental health book?
Yes.
Tell us a
So
little
we,
bit about that.
yeah. So I write, we talked about before. So I write and also publish. I launched the Made to Overcome series back in October, and that was the first mental edition. And then since then we did a chronic illness edition, a single parenting edition, and then this past May, I think it was May 23rd, I believe, we launched the mental health edition number 2, and those are actually stories of trauma and anxiety. So all those stories on there are people who have either have a PTSD diagnosis, or people who have experienced traumatic experiences, went through traumatic stuff, and they're sharing those stories. Not just this is what happened to me. It's like this is what I'm doing now. How their journey, and it gives so much hope. I often say I can throw statistic out there. I can throw all the clinical language that doesn't. It doesn't really help as much, honestly. It helps you say, oh, there's a lot of people having it. Yes. Oh, this is what it looks like. But at the end of the day, what really helps people is hearing the stories that one, he was a true person, a real person who been through it, and they overcame, and you can too. So that's what we just got off the plate. What we have right now on the plate that we're working on, and as part of that Made to Overcome series, is our Caregivers Edition that's coming out in November. So I'm excited about that because we get to again share stories of resilience, share stories of hope, and there's also when we talk about trauma, there's a piece that people don't often see, that caregivers go through a lot of trauma that some people don't talk about. There is a type of trauma that we call medical trauma, but there's
Yeah.
also caregiver PTSD that we need to also talk about.
Yes, definitely. And so the caregiver edition, that is still available for authors, right?
Yes, yeah, we still have a
Join
few
in.
spots, and yeah, we need people to join as soon as possible, to share your story. But yes, we're still accepting offers for that.
Wonderful. So can I ask you, I know I'm giving you all these things this morning. Can you drop the link below for the new mental health book that is already out on Amazon? And then if there is a link for caregivers to find out a little bit more, if they wanted to be in a collaboration
Mhm.
about caregivers and share their story a little bit and learn a little bit more about that, if they wanted to join in on
Yeah,
that.
I'm writing it down so I don't forget. So the caregiver link, the mental health book link, link to connect with me, and
Yeah.
then we talked
And
about the
then the
VA.
resources.
Okay. Yep.
You can
PTSD
tell
resources.
she's a caregiver and a mom of multiple children. You're like,
Gotta
you
write it because yeah, life happens, right?
you will forget. I always say that being a mom of four, I felt like at one, you kind of had it under control. At two, you had a little bit, you know what I'm saying? It's a little bit hectic. After three,
Yep, yep.
you better have a list. You better have a list or you'll forget someone or something. Well, thank you so much, Shu, this morning for joining us, sharing with us. I'm so excited about the new series that is coming out. Can't wait to take a look at the mental health, book that just launched in May. and looking forward to those resources. So thank you again for joining us. And hopefully you'll be able to join us for next month. Tomorrow, we kick off our minority mental health awareness series for the month of July. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to chat with you.
Yes, and if you guys want to know any more about the On Air Advocate, you can head on over to onairadvocate.com and you can find all of our resources there. And if you want to become part of our private community, just head up to the top of this Facebook page, hit the blue button, and that will let you in. On that note, you guys all have a fabulous Tuesday. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.